Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Welcome. All right, all right. So I'm assuming you guys can hear me, right? Yeah. All right. Let's get started. Miss Barney, good morning, everyone. Pam, hey, DD, and everyone. Pam, hi, Barney. Barney, hi, hi, Pam. I wonder if Chris and Doug will be joining us. I have no clue. Carolina, good morning, DD in chat. Hey, Carol, Barney, it's one of those days that I can't shake the tired feeling, right? I know that feeling. Good morning, DD in chat, says L. Welcome back, L. Glad you're here and hope you're feeling better. Carol, hello, everyone. L, Carol, Barney, Melly, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Melly. Barney, I have to call and make an appointment with my doctor again, unfortunately, but I'm hanging in there. Hugs for you, and I hope you feel more energized. Without a doubt, L. Without a doubt. Hello, Melly, says Carol. Barney, hey, Melly. Please hit the like buttons on your way in, everybody. Barney says, hear ya, Carol. Good morning, Barney. Loud and clear. Thank you, Carol. Can hear you. You're all good, DD88. Thank you so much, guys. Melly, appreciate it. So, it started a little late today because honestly, I just was putting something together and my mind just took off somewhere else and yeah. So I'm going to talk about. I know I said I wasn't going to do this no more, but I'm going to ask some questions. I want to ask some questions about in reference to the Nolan Wells case, but it's It's a little different here. We're not going down that rabbit hole. We're going down another rabbit hole, and it's just I don't have the answers, obviously, but I'm just asking the questions, trying to look at it from a different perspective, okay, and see what we can make of it. Um, I looked up some information and trying to figure out, and I think you need to look at all sides of the situation in order for you to even get a honest and fair assessment of what you think might have, could have, or you know, possibly happened. So I want to take this time to go ahead and go over something different that I think not too many people have done, and I haven't heard anybody do it. Go down this rabbit hole, but I think it's worth going ahead and asking the questions. Now I want to ask some questions, and I want you guys in real time, to explain to me or to tell me your all's opinion on real time. As I'm asking these questions, I'm wanting to hear some answers because I don't know, but I'm trying to look at it from different takes. Okay, so you guys are basically gonna come with me on this little question and answer type of deal in real time. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. So I guess my first question is, and I'm going to write this down because I'm going to take notes myself. Okay. The first question I want to ask is, why isn't Katie McCormack talking right now? Good morning, Fin Fan. Why is Katie McCormick not talking right now? Answer. Goes to everybody in the chat. Answer. Anybody lurking? You're all welcome. Everybody's opinion is welcome. Everybody's opinion will be heard. Just trying to get an idea. Why is Katie McCormack not talking? Give me some ideas. Fin Fan, Cicely, welcome in. It's going to be a good chat, folks, because no one's really talking about this side of the coin. Probably advised not to. Okay, good point. She's being told not to talk. Okay, let's go. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Her lawyers is telling her not. Telling her to be quiet. Perfect. That's what I want to hear. Anybody else? All right. Love it. Love it. That's what I want to hear. So we got a lawyer telling lawyer saying no. Stay quiet. You got she's told not to. And just not being allowed to speak or saying do not talk. Okay. So now she's being told not to talk, probably advised not to by lawyers. Okay. And Fan Melly, Pam, hey Melly, Carolina, Michelle Smith, she's probably been advised not to, or she doesn't feel the need to go on media tour to prove she's not involved. Okay. Doesn't need to prove she is not involved. All right. All right. So let me then ask you this question. Out of those answers I got there, which is great answers. Great answers. Okay. Let's start with the first one. Lawyers say to be quiet, not to say nothing. Why is the lawyer going to tell her not to say nothing? Anybody? Why is the lawyer going to say nothing? She didn't do anything. Why would the lawyers tell somebody who was with Nolan, and we saw pictures of her with Nolan earlier, why would the lawyer tell her not to say nothing? Just a question. Because she knows the truth and it's not good. Damn it, you're good, Melly. And isn't the truth what we want? Isn't the truth what we want, Melly? Follow up on that. Isn't the truth what we're looking for of somebody who has become unalive? Isn't the truth what we want? Isn't that what we want to get to? Just a question. I'll let you think on that one. I'll let you think on that one, Melly. Melly says she could accidentally say something damaging to the case. Well, right now, we don't have really anything, right, in the case per se. And the biggest person probably in this case, I'm just trying to break this down, guys. And the biggest thing probably in this case is Katie, right? She's like the biggest player in the game other than Nolan. So she could accidentally say something damaging to the case. Damaging for who? Damaging for who, Millie? I'll let you think on that one. Grayson, Katie isn't talking because anyone who has will get savagely scrutinized, and if she corroborates the Friends story, then she admits she was with Nolan after them. But isn't that what we want, Grayson? We want the truth. Isn't that what everybody is searching is for the truth? Isn't a life worth the truth? I mean, I get what you're saying, and I'm not questioning anything. I'm just trying to put these pieces together. Isn't getting scrutinized over telling the truth over a young man who was or became unalive? Isn't that the most important thing to get to the truth? Melly, she could actually say something. Oh, great point. L, Ditto, Grayson, FinFan, Melly, what was the question? Just got here. The question was, why Katie McCormick? Why isn't she talking, FinFan? Why isn't Katie McCormack not talking at all? The lawyers is going to do everything they can to protect their client. Truth is irrelevant. They're doing a job. True, L. But what is there to protect their client in what way? In what way is she being protected? No one's accusing her of anything, right? No one's accusing her of anything that I've read, that I've heard. Everything has been directed towards Nolan's friends. So why would the lawyer, I get the lawyer's going to protect their defendant, but I'm not really sure why she even has a lawyer, because other than being with Nolan that little bit of time, she has no skin in the game. No one's looking at her. She has no skin in the game as far as anything nefarious. So why are the lawyers protecting her if she has nothing to be protected from? I'm just curious. Maybe she's getting threatened by who is involved in unaliving Nolan. There you go. There you go. So Pam states maybe she's getting threatened. Now we're getting somewhere. Maybe she's getting threatened. Big possibility. Big possibility. Barney, perhaps Katie knows if who provided the drugs and alcohol. Good point. Barney, maybe she knows who alcohol. Good point. L, but she says the wrong thing. It puts her in a bad position. Loose lips sink ships. One wrong move and she could be in a bad position. I get that. Totally perfect. That's a perfect. I totally understand that, Al. But here's the thing. Loose lips sink ships is usually used for somebody who has committed something wrong, right? The more they talk, the more they sink their own ship. But if she has nothing to do with this and no one has accused her of doing anything, what ship would she be sinking? What ship would she be sinking? Honestly, what ship would she be sinking? Loose lips sink ships is utilized as a, man, the more you talk, you're going to say something that's going to bury you, right? So then, what does she got to worry about? She didn't do anything. Whose ship is she worrying about sinking? The whole case is hearsay, makes it extremely difficult for a prosecutor. Without a doubt, we're just trying to figure out why, at this point, why Katie McCormick isn't talking. Why isn't she talking? I'll be back and forth watching the kids, watching the Clancy trial. Sounds fine. Sounds fine, April. Melly, the thing is, if she spoke and said a certain time, for example, and then later remembers it being different time, let's say, even if it's a 5 minute apart, the small discrepancy could be an issue. Okay. All right, Melly. She doesn't want to get it wrong. But here's the thing on that. She doesn't want to go ahead and get it wrong on the time, Melly. She doesn't want to go ahead and get the time of this discrepancy wrong. But if she says nothing, no one will ever even know there's a time, right? No one will ever know what time are we talking about because she's not saying anything. I would say probably if she did give a time and she got it wrong, she could always correct that time, right? So then the question becomes, it's better to say something than not say nothing if you have nothing to deal with this situation. And I'm not saying she does or doesn't. I'm not saying anybody does in the case. I'm just asking the question, why isn't she talking? Good points. You guys got great points. Very good points. Lawyers told her not to. She was told not to. Do not talk. Doesn't need to prove that she is involved. She's not trying to prove that she's involved. No doubt about it. She could say something damaging the case. Well, she doesn't say anything. Then no one will ever know what she knows, right? Pam, maybe she's getting threatened. That's a very good possibility. Barney, maybe she knows who bought the drugs and alcohol. That's a very good possibility. Melly, she doesn't want to get time wrong, but if she doesn't say anything, we will never even know that there's a time frame from her perspective, right? Hey, Melly, L, it's more other people than her. People misinterpret things, twist them around, and people are angry. Totally get that, L. Totally get that. It's more other people than her. Right. Right. So you're saying people misinterpret things, twist them around. So I guess here's my thing. Hadn't done anything wrong. I mean, she was just walking with Nolan. They were having a good time together, grabbing ass and whatnot, right? For a better lack of words. What could they misrepresent on her? And understanding, guys, I'm just asking this question because you're helping me understand. What is she misrepresenting, or what could she be representing? What could she say that's going to incriminate her in this case? Because I wouldn't give a flip about who if they find. I want them to find the person who did this, right? So if it's me, I'm going, I don't give a rat's butt about this other people who might have done this to somebody that I kind of thought was a nice guy, right? Pam, thank you for supporting the channel, my friend. Melly, she might also reveal evidence that hasn't been made public yet. Well, that's what we want for sure. Well said, Melly. She would reveal information on what happened. Really happened. And that's what we want, right? Very good point. And that's my point. She might also reveal evidence that hasn't been made publicly. And if she says nothing, that evidence never gets to see the day of light, right? Right? April. Hi, April, says L. April, L, thank you for supporting the channel. Pam. April, hi. Great point, Melly. Melly, thank you. Carol, hello. Barney, please remember to click the like button, everybody. Do me that favor. FinFan, snitches get stitches. I was waiting for that one to come out. Snitches get stitches. It's a good point. It's a good point. You gotta ask yourself, what are you willing to put yourself out there for the life of another human being, right? I mean, for the most part, right? Okay, FinFan. Want to go ahead and make sure she doesn't get attacked either physically, mentally, or any other because she may know the truth and she's saying it. It's a good point, FinFan. It's a good point. Brenda, good morning, Devil Dog and Mods and Pup. Good to have you back, Brenda. Appreciate you being here. I hope everything is going well. Oleg, good morning, DD, and everyone. Welcome in, Oleg. L, Brenda, and Oleg. Oleg, hi. I love how this is going right now. This is great. Brenda, so sorry I haven't been here dealing with it. You got it. No worries. Glad you're here, my friend. Carol, hello. Melly, also, if she doesn't actually know anything, then she wouldn't want to speculate just because people accept her to speak. Correct. Very good point, Melly. Might not know something. Well said, Melly. And then I would say, Melly, then in that case, why not just come out and say, I don't know anything. All I did was we were walking together. We hung out together. We were having a good time. And then he was gone or he left. Right? Because saying that simple phrase, we hung out together. We were walking together. We were just, we kind of liked each other, and everything was great. And then all of a sudden he had to leave and we said goodbye and he left. And that's the last time I saw him. That wouldn't be speculating, right? That would just be in the fact. Has she said that? I've never heard that. But that's a good point, Melly, because this is how we figure out why certain people are not doing anything or saying anything. We can try to narrow that information, if you will. Good, but that's a very good response. Oleg, hi, Carol. Hi, Oleg. L, True Melly. Michelle Smith, she spoke to his mom immediately after she told her what she knew, and that was most important. Okay, so she did call Nolan's mom, and stated what she knew. Very good. Very, very good, Michelle. Oleg, hi, Melly, Brenda, Finfin. You know what I mean? I'm fear of talking. In my opinion, fear of talking. No, I get it, Finfan. I get it. I know exactly what you're saying. Fear of talking. All right. Brenda, sorry to hear that, Brenda. I just lost my aunt. Sorry to hear that. Prayers for you, sweetheart. Prayers for you. Barney says maybe Katie does not have a credible reputation, making her unreliable in Ellie or Court's eyes. And that's possible, Barney. But who would decide that she's not credible? Might not be credible. Carol, Brenda, Ole, big hugs. Pam, maybe she knew the boys more than they act and she doesn't want to tell on her friends. Very good possibility. Maybe doesn't want to. That's a very good possibility. Very good possibility. Tina Messi, welcome in, Tina. If I have a 20-year-old that was at Horn Island, I would not let them speak after all the hate that others are getting. I'm going to protect her so nothing gets twisted. She can speak in court. That's good, Tina. Good. So if I have a 20-year-old that has that was at Horn Island, I would not let them speak after all the hate others are getting. So the threats and all that, I am going to protect her so nothing gets twisted. Well, the only thing that can get twisted is if she says something that's not true, right? I mean, the reality is if she says, I saw him on the boat, that's pretty matter of fact, right? So if she said I saw him on the boat, there's no way to really twist that. That's either yay or nay, right? That there's nothing that like there's nothing, there's no there. And at 20, you know, they're gonna talk to her regardless of what anybody wants to because she's of age, right? So that would mean you would have to get an attorney to protect her, to not let her speak. But why do all that when you could just say he was on the boat, he wasn't on the boat? You follow me? He was on the boat or he wasn't. I mean, there's no twist in there. It's what I saw. They're saying it's what they saw. Both of them can't be right. Melly says, thank you. I studied this weekend. Tina, hi, beautiful. Hello. I am so sorry for your loss, Brenda. Michelle, his mom said Kate called her and told her what she. I get that. I already wrote that down. That's a great point. That's a really great point, Michelle. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I think that's a really good point. That's a very good point. Brenda, Pam, Oleg, I am sticking with the Warren leaked in his interview. He had never seen Nolan fight. That tells me there was a fight. Interesting, Oleg. So, in the question of why isn't she talking? Why isn't she addressing anything? What did she first say at the very beginning? The very first thing she said at the very beginning was what? She saw him on the boat, correct? Remember that at the beginning? She said, he told me he was going with his friends. He had to leave. He went towards the boat. I saw him on the boat. That was the very first thing she said, correct? She might not feel she has to prove her innocence. She's not proving any innocence. She's just saying the facts, right? She doesn't have to prove her innocence because she did nothing wrong, correct? All she has to do, all she needs to do is help somebody who was, or someone who became unalive on how they could figure out what happened to them. It's not even about her being in trouble. It's not about her doing anything. It's just about helping another family who's grieving for their loss put things in perspective, right? Because she's not speaking, it can easily be interpreted as she's not cooperating. But do we really know that? Sometimes silence isn't always guilty, just trying to see it from a different point of view. Well, the whole reason I say this is because we have looked at all the perspectives that we have looked at was from the perspective of the friends of Nolan, right? And nobody ever talked about the other side of the coin. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason I'm bringing this topic up. And I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. Because she's not speaking can easily be interpreted as she's not saying she's not cooperating at all. Just saying by her not speaking, that family may never really truly get to know what happened to their son. I'm not saying she's guilty at all. Matter of fact, she's the least person I would think was guilty. Thank you, Celtic Pat, for always supporting the channel, my friend. Thank you for that treat. Thank you, Carolina Girl. Thank you for the floating hearts. Appreciate you. Thank you for always supporting the channel. Tina, they're twisting everything these boys say. Are they? Are they really twisting everything these boys say? Or are these boys saying things and confusing the narrative because they're saying different things? Because they're not comfortable. Because they're not able to just stick to one thing, because they're jumping around everywhere. I don't know. I'm just asking, because I don't think that anybody is twisting anything that these boys are saying. They're going by what these boys are saying. The problem is it's not making sense. And the reason it's not making sense is because you got one person that says, I saw him on the boat. And you have another person saying he wasn't on the boat. You know what I mean? Pam, everyone has a great answers. Get thinking more. Thanks, DD. Absolutely. This is all about thinking outside that box, guys. I got no skin in the game. I'm just trying to think outside on from a different perspective. Fan, the entire case is hearsay. Well, the only thing that's not hearsay is you have an 18-year-old that is unalive. And that is the case. That's not hearsay. He is gone. He's not coming back. That is a fact. The question is, why and how can we get any information to try to explain what happened? That's the case. The fact that he's unalive, that's not hearsay. That's fact. The idea that we're trying to get an idea of what happened to him, that's all we're trying to do, and that's what investigating is all about. Carol, thank you for the floating hearts. Appreciate you. And the silver star. Celtic, thank you for the silver star. Both of you always supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Hi, Celtic says L. Thanks for supporting the channel, Carolina. Celtic, hey guys. Tina Messi, I follow you, but she can't tell the police and why they go to court. I follow you, says Tina, but she she can tell the police and when they go to. True, true. That is very true. Well said, Tina. Tina, she could tell police in court. The only problem with that, Tina, is that this is going to a grand jury with the information they get. Okay. This is going to the grand jury with the information they get. This may never even reach court because they may not have the information they need to be able to make that correct and proper judgment as to what happened. So it may not even get to court because people didn't speak up. You know what I mean? Celtic says, been so busy. Pam, hi, Celtic. Hope everyone's doing well. Dee Dee, you're doing so amazing. Thank you, Celtic Pet. Appreciate that. Melly, hey, Celtic. Tina, his mom hasn't turned over Nolan's phone. Yet why should my daughter be put out there to receive scrutiny? Okay, well, let's talk about that. So it was agreed by the DA of Mississippi, of Jackson, that they were going to listen to that phone together, download that information together, along with possibly the FBI, and that they would all three do it together so that nothing was going to be compromised. That was what the DA has agreed to from the very beginning. They were going to work together. Now there's a letter saying that they got 48 hours to turn over the phone. The private side is saying, well, Jesus, you guys said we were going to do this together. You guys agreed to do this together and possibly bring in the FBI with it. But now you're saying you want the phone. You don't give us a time. You don't give us a date. You don't tell us where we're going to meet at so we can have this. And that's all we're waiting for. We're waiting for you guys to tell us. So what say you, Tina? Mom hasn't turned over the phone because they're all supposed to look at it together so there's no misconstrued in anything. I mean, look what happened with the autopsy. The autopsy that was done by the state, right? The autopsy that was done by the state, literally, they kept certain parts of the throat. They kept the whole neck. But by keeping that throat, the private pathologist couldn't even give an assessment of what could have happened or what would have happened or what might have happened because they don't even have that. I get it. They would keep the lungs because they got to dissect all that. But the throat, how are they supposed to decide? The neck, how are they supposed to know what happened? Or how can they do a valid test? See, the only thing that the mom hasn't done, it's not the mom. From everything I know, they agree that they were going to do this together. They're saying we just haven't got a time and date or place when they want to go ahead and have this. What say you, Tina? Celtic, hi, Melly. Hey, Melly. Carol, Tina, she turned in last week. It's what's being reported. That's what I heard, Carol. Just not sure if, that's for sure or not, but good point. Miss Barney, maybe Katie was drinking or doing drugs or providing such doesn't want to admit to any of that. That's a good possibility. That's a good possibility. Very good possibility. We don't know if she was, but it is possible. That's a good point. Celtic, has anyone checked his phone history through Google? Not sure, Celtic. I am not sure because it seems like they had the family this time, they had the phone this time, and I'm not sure what they were able to get, but I know that was something that they wanted to all have that conversation. They wanted to know with that conversation what exactly they wanted to do it together, so there wouldn't be no friction, no different views of opinion, for a better lack of words. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason I'm bringing this up. Fin being reported proves my point. All hearsay. Being reported proves my point. All hearsay. Well, at what point do you have any facts? Is Nolan being found unalive in the water? Is that a fact? I think that's the biggest fact at all, right? That's the biggest piece here, is that he became unalive and no one knows how. Now, if you have somebody that saw something, that's not hearsay. That's not hearsay. If you have somebody that witnessed a crime, that's not hearsay. That's fact. They're going to the stand and saying, I swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Okay? That's fact. Right. Defense attorney says, prove it. Then the person says, I, with my own eyes, seen this person do this to this person, and that's how he became unalive. It's called eyewitness. And in our country, that's what we do, right? Fin, we go with eyewitness account. Well, he said he always wanted to do this. That's not fact. That's hearsay. Well, they made the comment that they wanted to go ahead and take him out. They didn't like him. That's hearsay. That's no proven. But when an eyewitness comes to you and says, yes, I saw this happen, that's a fact. That's a fact. And now the investigation is going to go out there and they're going to hit that hard to that individual because they have a witness. Follow me? And if they have more than one witnesses, they're going to be called, for the prosecutor, they're going to be called to tell what they saw. A jury then is going to have to decide whether they buy it or not. Just saying. Not agreeing with anybody here. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not agreeing with anybody. I'm just taking a different approach, trying to look at the other side. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not taking any, I'm trying to just think outside the box. Pam, why did the parents wait so long to turn the phone? Do they know more than they're saying? Well, Pam, I discovered that yeah, it's very possible that they hung on to the phone because they're waiting for the DA, who agreed to go over this phone together, even possibly including the FBI. So there was no misinterpretation and nothing was basically lost on this phone. But they feel, the family said, we never got a call, a date, a time, a place when we were going to meet. And this was agreed to by the DA. Carol, Fin, I'm just saying. Celtic Pep, big hugs. Last night, it was reported that allegedly Nolan recorded a fight between Warren's little brother and the guy Warren talked about. And something happened as Nolan was trying to get his phone back. I did hear something about that, Michelle. I really did. I did hear something about that. Thanks for that. Absolutely. I did hear something. I don't know if it's true or not, but I did hear it. And you're right. It was allegedly that could have been why someone had his phone trying to delete that incident. Good point. Please hit the likes and share the streams, everybody. I hope you like this kind of dialogue because I think it's really good because we're seeing different Now we're like thinking outside the realm, trying to figure out, what could make sense, what would make sense. Michelle, the boys should do what Katie is doing and shut up. Well, if they just be quiet, yeah, I mean, no one will ever know nothing. No one will ever know anything if those boys be quiet. But if honest people want to go out and voice and say what they saw, that's going to shatter that theory for them, right? If they have witnesses that come out and say, oh, no, this was wrong, what happened. Not saying it happened wrong. I'm saying if they saw something wrong and they come out and they are witnesses, then that just shoots that theory right out the window, right? But you're right. I get it that they should be quiet. That's what their attorney's going to tell them. But they haven't been quiet. They've been out there on Officer Tatum's podcast show doing all these interviews, and it's not looking good for them. It really isn't. So that's where we're at. Good point, though. Good question. Good comment. Melly, if she already told law enforcement everything she remembers, then does she owe the public an interview? No, absolutely not, Melly. She doesn't owe the public anything. If she talked to the law enforcement and told them everything she knew, that's it. That's it. So I'm not saying she didn't talk to law enforcement. I'm not saying she didn't give her statement. She didn't, talk to anybody. I'm just saying we just never really heard anything about it. We heard about, the boys gave a statement. The boys talked to the law enforcement. The boys did X, Y, and Z, right? We heard all that, but we never heard literally that she gave a statement. At least I haven't heard that. FinFan, true. How do you prove someone or anyone specifically is guilty? I'm not disrespecting Nolan. No. How do you prove someone or anyone specific is guilty? Well, you got to have evidence for one. You got to have a corroborating evidence that says that, individuals saw something happen to Nolan nefariously, and they didn't want to say nothing because they were scared, but they feel like they have to say something. Corroborating witnesses will always be the way you solve this type of situation because, the hand size, the print on the back, the inside lining of the bruise and all that stuff at the back of the neck, that's all going to say something, right? So really corroboration and investigating that corroboration of what people are telling you is the only way you're going to be able to solve this case. But if you have no evidence and you have nobody talking, then you won't be able to solve this case. But then today it's someone else, tomorrow it could be you. Or it could be someone you love. And then what? How everything switches around real quick. Good point. April, thanks for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button for DD. Appreciate you guys. FinFan, it's terrible what happened. I'm not saying event is hearsay. Wasn't. No, I know you're not, FinFan. I know you're not. I know you better than that, friend. I know you're not. What I'm saying is that's the only way you would get that resolved is if you had corroborating people saying what they saw. We know that there's it's almost highly unlikely that everybody that was there didn't see what happened, or one person didn't see what happened, or a handful of people didn't see what happened, right? So, and I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that literally the only way you can really corroborate that is with having witnesses. I saw this happen. I saw this take place. 5 minutes prior to this happening, so-and-so said he's tired of so-and-so's, mouth. He's tired of so-and-so that I just wish he was, unalive. And then all of a sudden, mysteriously, he becomes unalive. That's not a fact. But it goes to the theory that if someone says, well, I did see X, Y, and do this, now you have it like it's all making sense. You know what I mean? Tina can speak to the police now and then in court. I would not let her speak publicly. We are already talking about her and we're going to scrutinize her every word. Now, we're talking about her, Tina, because no one else has talked about her. We're talking about her because everything has been put on those young men, you know, and the fairness thing to do is to go to the other side of the coin and start asking those questions, right? Like if these young men never said anything, they never spoke to the police, they never said anything, they didn't do any interviews, people would say, well, they're trying to hide something, right? But you can also go back to the other side and look at it and say, people had to have seen something. And if they did, great. Say what you know. And if they didn't, that's understandable. You know what I mean? So it's not, I'm not saying that, you know, people they're going to scrutinize every word. There's nothing to scrutinize if you just say, you know, what happened. You don't have to tell the people this. As long as the police know, as long as they have that documented. I don't know if they do, but it's pretty interesting that they talked about how everybody else has given statements and who has talked to the police, and then how they have talked about others who haven't done it. Hello, DDA chat friends. It's hot in South Georgia. I bet it is, Ketko. Welcome in. Michelle Smith, thank you so much. Appreciate you for your help and support for the super chat. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you as always helping the channel out. Millie, thank you so much. Michelle, thanks so much for supporting the channel. Hey, Catgo, Carolina, thank you. Catgo, L, thank you for that Sunday. I was hungry. Catgo, thank you. Pam, hey, Catgo, Michelle, I appreciate the different points of view. Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate it. And that's all I'm trying to do, guys. I'm just trying to give you guys from a different perspective, because in law enforcement, when you're working a case, this is what you're trying to do. You have to look at everything. You have to look at this side, that side. You have to look at why you're not hearing from this or that. Now, they're not going to tell the public, law enforcement is not going to tell the public exactly what was said, you know, and nor do I expect them to. But it's ironic that we're not hearing anything from the other side. That's, to me, doesn't sound good. April, thank you for supporting Day, everybody. Appreciate you all. April, hi, Ketko. Melly says this is fun, without a doubt. Absolutely. And it's supposed to be interesting, something different. I don't have the answers. You guys are helping me actually understand the case even more better like this. A to Z, good morning. The house of cards is starting to fall. I've been really deep diving in the case, not pointing at anyone at this time because, in my opinion, stories are slipping with friends. Honest facts are limited. You're exactly right, AZ. Well said. Well said. I agree with that 100%. Pam, hey, AZ, Pam, Catgo, Melly, A to Z, Fin, Fan, Pam, everyone. Catgo. Hey, Catgo AZ. Good morning, everybody. Michelle, Katie passed the voice analysis test, right? She did. According to her attorney, an attorney, there was two people that passed. A young man who he was not going to name. I believe it's one of the people that was on the boat. And Katie, because he said it was the girl that was hanging around with Nolan, and that's the girl we assume is Katie McCormick. That is correct, without a doubt. Tina, I have lived on a huge lake my entire life, still do boating, jet skiing, etc. First rule, never drink alcohol, without a doubt. There is at least 2 drownings a week here, and they are complete accidents. Totally understand. Totally understand, especially if they're underage, then definitely somebody who provided that would definitely be in some trouble if they were underage and somebody was providing the alcohol. Barney, double-edged sword for all of them, without a doubt. We just never covered the other side. Tina, it could be nefarious, but it could be an accident. True. That's very true. Has Katie spoken to the police? I think young adults, it's very difficult for the hate bullying. Totally agree 100% with that, Tina. Well said. Well said. Totally agree with that. You know, the peer pressure, the dealing with the different personal attacks, and maybe in social media, the attacks that you see, friends you thought were your friends and are not. Yeah, totally agree with that. Melly says, I'm stuck on this. Why would Nolan leave his phone and keys behind if the intention was to arrange another ride? Well, see, that's a solid question, Melly. That's a solid question, because when you ask that question, it makes perfect sense. Why would he leave that knowing he was going to stay? Now, some would say, well, maybe he's been drinking too much and he just didn't remember he didn't have his phone with him. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. But yeah, that phone is your lifeline. So that's a fair question, without a doubt. Well said, Melly. Well said. So let me explain to you why I'm looking at this other side. Just trying to figure out and piece those pieces, okay? Because you got to look at the whole case as one. So Katie never stated that she did not see, publicly never stated that she did not see Nolan on that boat. She, in fact, stated she did see Nolan on that boat, and that he wasn't with her when he left. He wasn't with her. Now, the young men on the boat are saying, nope, Nolan told us he was staying with Katie. That's what they said. Now, what you did hear is that the mom of Katie and the sister of Katie, they said that Katie told them that she did not see him on the boat, that she saw them walking to the boat, but she never saw them on the boat. But that came from mom and from sister. Why didn't it come from Katie? Why didn't Katie just come out and say, now that I think about it, I really didn't see him on the boat. He was walking towards, that's what I probably should have said. He was walking towards the boat. I thought he got on. Why did mom have to interject and sister have to interject and making that comment? Because here's the thing. That doesn't take away the fact of what Katie said. Until Katie says it out of her mouth, then you can say, okay, she probably just got confused or whatnot. But for mom to step in and say that along with the sister, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because in all technicality, that never came literally. That never came out of the mouth of Katie. You know what I mean? Carol, good question, Melly. Thank you, Carol. Melly, Michelle, his coach said that he wasn't inebriated. His coach said that who wasn't inebriated? Michelle, I'm just curious. Who wasn't inebriated? Miss Barney said, Michelle, where did you hear that Nolan's coach said that? Yeah, you let me know if you do. But you understand what I'm saying? Katie McCormick, who saw in her at that point, saw Nolan last, other than someone else later. But Katie McCormick said, I saw him get on that boat. He was on the boat. Now, guys, that's pretty hard to get confused on comments to say I saw him on the boat, right? That's pretty matter of fact, right? But then the mom comes into the picture, and the sister comes into the picture, and they say what Katie told them. Katie never said that to like retract what she said. The mom did the retracting. The sister did the retracting. Well, that's not the same as Katie herself doing the retracting. So, in essence, Katie had never said that. She just never said that. That's what I find troubling. Okay, guys, I'm out for a bit. Be safe today. Love you all. Thank you, Celtic Pet. Appreciate you. You have a great day. Thank you for all your support. You see what I'm saying, guys? I'm not sure that there is anything that she has said to take away, like to correct her misquote, if that's what it was. Mom and sister cannot change what the sister has said. Only the sister can, only Katie can change what she has said. Is she refusing to say? Is she refusing to say? Because she's like, I'm adamant. I'm not saying that you guys can say what you want, but I'm not saying it. Because I saw him on the boat. Now, Katie, you need to think about this. It could have been that you didn't see it. I'm not saying it. You guys do what you want to do, but I'm not saying that. You follow me? See where this is going? FinFan says hearsay, laughing out. Now that is hearsay. Absolutely, FinFan. What mom and what sister are saying is that because they weren't there, they didn't hear her say it. And as far as being there, they didn't see that whole situation play out. They're just trying to talk on behalf of the daughter's sister. That's not how it works. Stay safe, Celtics, says Barney. Michelle, Nolan's high school coach talked to his parents, and they talked about this in an interview. Interesting. I did not see that, to be honest, Michelle. But hey, if you saw it, that's good. That is good. Do you guys follow me on why I'm saying that Katie has never retracted what she said? Katie herself has never retracted. So that means if I go out there and I say it was that person who went ahead and ran me off the road, and then I come back later and say, well, I didn't really see the person. It was that type of car that ran me off the road, then I would need to correct that, right? Yeah, I said it was that person, but really I didn't even see the person. It was the car that actually did it, but I didn't see the person, and it was that type of color of the car. You see what I'm saying? The only person that can correct that is her, not anybody else. Melly, I have a question for you, DD. If you're handling this case, what would be one question you would ask Katie if you only could ask one question? Whew, that's a good one, Melly. That's a good one. I think if I had to ask her one question that would either answer or not answer this whole case, it would literally be, was Nolan on the boat? Because if Nolan's on the boat, then he's not on the land. Did you see Nolan leave with his friends on the boat? And if she says yes, and she's telling the truth, that's all I need to hear, because that squashes everything. I mean, it squashes everything. It says everything else is meaningless because he wasn't on the island. But if she says, Anything else to me would be irrelevant. That would be the clincher right there. So if I had that question, that's a very good question, Melly, and that would be my answer. If he is on the boat with his friends, and she says, yes, I saw him on the boat with his friends, it's done. It's done. Now, what we're hearing, though, is the friend saying, oh, no, he wasn't on the boat with us. He stayed with her. And she's saying, no, he was never with me. Not after he left. You follow me? That's what makes this such an interesting situation. Because the boys are saying one thing. Even remember when they were saying that, I think it was Wyatt that was yelling at Nolan, telling him to get on the frickin' boat. Wyatt, get on the. Now he's screaming in his lungs, is what Warren said, right? How could nobody else heard that? You think of somebody as close as they were to each other that was screaming? You think literally that if somebody was screaming for somebody to get on the, damn boat, do you think they wouldn't have looked? People would have said, God, who the hell is yelling? They're all around each other, right? Who's yelling? All of a sudden they go, oh, that kid on that boat's yelling. I don't know his name, but he's yelling at, looks like that one kid over there, and he's yelling back saying, no, I'm going to stay on the boat. I'm going to stay here with this girl. Or I'm going to stay here with Katie. I'll get a ride. You don't think they're going to hear that? You don't think that guy's going to turn his head? You don't think people are going to go, who in the hell's yelling? Because they're all having a good time, right? That's an attention getter. When someone starts to yell, it's an attention getter. You're going to turn your head because you're like, what's the commotion about? Just saying. You need one credible key witness to speak in court. Well said, FinFan. Well said. Tina says Katie spoke to police and took a voice analysis. She's not running from the police. She's running from Mr. Crump. I wouldn't let her speak publicly either, just my opinion. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I'm not saying that I don't disagree with that at all, Tina. I really don't. I don't disagree with that at all. Katie spoke to the police and took a voice analysis. She's not. No one is saying she's running from the police. Nobody is saying that, without a doubt. Okay, I don't think she's even going to have anything to say to Mr. Crump unless this goes to court, and then he will be able to cross-examine her and ask her questions. At which point in time she will have to answer or plead the fifth. So I'm not saying she has to publicly speak to let everybody know who wants to know. Okay, I'm not saying she has to do that at all. But it's kind of rich to hear the attorneys from the boys say, they went ahead and they talked to the police. They cooperated. They gave them everything. They talked to the police and, one passed, took the test and he passed it along with that girl. You see what I'm saying? One did that. I'm not saying that anybody's guilty. I'm just asking the question. She never said otherwise. She did say, I saw him on the boat. She did say that. She's never said, I made a mistake. I didn't see him on the boat. That was mom and sister. Big difference. Big, huge difference. All the pics and vids online, but no cell service. You don't need cell service to take pics and vids just to send that. Then why would Nolan not have his phone on the island since he allegedly always took pics and vids? It's a very good point, AZ. Very good point. Jim Survival says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jim. Barney, in the parents' interview, did the parents say how the coach knew that Nolan was or wasn't drinking? Yeah, I'm not sure on that, Barney. That's, I think, I forgot who made the comment. Somebody made the comment. Michelle, I think. Yeah. Barney. AG Jim. Melly, dear Jim. Pam, hey Jim. Good morning, Jim. Jim. Chris, link me. All right, all right. There you go, Chris. I just sent the link. Carol, hello, Jim. Michelle, her answer now helps his case. Absolutely, it does. Because she said that. Her answers do help the case, without a doubt. Because she said, I saw him on the boat. She's never retracted that. Never retracted that. That has been mom verbally. She has never retracted that. That has been mom and sister that have said something different. But she didn't say something different. L, hi, Chris. Carol, hello, Chris. Jim, L, Catco. This is such a sad case. Mr. Crump is not my favorite person. I just can't talk about it much. Everything is complicated. Totally understand, Ketko. Totally understand. Pam, hey, Chris. Melly, hi, Jim. Jim, Carol, morning, Fabio. Carol, Chris, need a link. I just sent him a link. Here's another link. Again, I just sent him a link, and there's another one for you, Chris. Carol, Chris, needs link. Jim, Casper, AK, Chris. Cat go, Chris, Melly. Really though, why leave your phone behind if you're gonna need a ride back? How would you communicate to? I mean, that's a very fair and honest question, without a doubt, Melly. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Jim, Cat go. There is the link, Chris. So that's why I'm asking the question about she had literally stated that. You know, no one asked her to say anything. I'm glad she did, but no one asked her to say anything. She said that she saw him on the boat. Her mom and her sister said she saw him walking towards the boat, but she never seen him on the boat. Well, that don't mean nothing to me because she has never corrected that, which tells me she could have just as well said, hey, I made a mistake. I didn't see him on there. I thought he was going to get on there. It's just that simple, right? It's almost like saying, hey, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry I went ahead and said I was wrong. I was telling you this, but it's not really that. This is what I meant. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. Welcome in, Chris. Welcome in. Michelle, the coach said that he and Nolan were catching up, talking about his upcoming season, and he said that Nolan was completely normal. Look it up. Interesting. This is before the island or after, Michelle? Because it couldn't have been after, right? Because they never found him. So
what are we talking about today?
We're talking about.
Let me guess. Hold on. Nolan Ryan. Ryan. Who's Nolan Ryan? Jesus Christ. Nolan Wells.
Well, we're talking about the other side. We're talking about Katie. It's not so much about Nolan's situation, but about Katie. We're looking at the other side. And the very first question that we've been on is literally, why isn't Katie saying anything?
Because her lawyer said, shut up.
Right.
Well,
why?
I mean,
but why would she need to shut up if nothing really points to her as doing anything?
I don't know.
I mean, why would a lawyer tell her client, be quiet, do not say nothing, First of all, why would an attorney say that to a client when they had nothing to do with it?
Yeah, I don't know unless he's waiting to hear. I don't know what they come up with before she speaks, or
Because
I don't know.
we do know that she did say she saw him on the boat. Okay, that's never changed from her.
She saw him on the boat.
She said at the very beginning, she saw him on the boat with him. That's why he left. Her mom and her sister later came out and said that she told them she saw him walking towards the boat and thought that he was going to get onto the boat. That's what the mom and the sister said.
Okay.
Okay. But she, at the very, very beginning, said she saw him on the boat. Now, my thing is this. Then just say, why did mom and sister have to speak for her? Why couldn't Katie speak for herself? Because Katie's the one that made the comment.
True.
I mean, why wouldn't Katie just say, "Hey guys, I misspoke," or "Hey, I misspoke. I said this, but really I meant. I guess I was, you know, I just meant this. I didn't mean that."
Right.
Because when mom and daughter say that, that doesn't change what she said.
Right.
I mean, for all we know, she could have said, "Hey, mom, sis, I'm not changing what I saw. I know what the hell I saw, and I'm not changing it.
Right.
You say whatever you want, but I'm not changing it." You know,
Probably.
and that's what the discussion is. We had some very four things that people said that the Devil Puffs were saying and whatnot, saying that gave some really good reasons, and so we just took the first reason and started pulling it apart, asking the question, why did she not say anything? And one of the things were, yeah, well, the attorney told her not to, but she has nothing to hide.
Right.
Why would the attorney tell her? I mean, we're trying to dig it from the other side to see like what makes sense.
Right.
Go ahead.
He didn't want her to say something stupid, but I mean, what would she have to say stupid?
Exactly. My point exactly. He didn't want her to say something that compromised the case. Well, by not saying anything, it may never be a case. By never saying what you know, that case may never even reach the court, because the grand jury may say we just don't have enough. When in all actuality, you knew something, you just didn't say something. You know what I'm saying? Now she did talk to the police. So she did talk to the police. She gave her whatnot, and somebody in here pointed out that she did talk to Miss Wansley and gave her the information she knew. Good. That's great. That's great. My issue and my concern in this case, picking it apart, is trying to figure out, why did the mom and the sister have to feel like they needed to speak for her? Because the reality is, she's the one. She can always say, I've never said that. My mom and sister said that, but I've never said that. And that's huge. Tina says, if he had his phone, who is he going to call for a ride? He's not. He's going to ask another boater to bring him to the shore. I mean, if he had his phone, he would have called his parents. I would think. I would think he would have called his parents and would have said, hey, I need you to find some way to get me back. And I can guarantee you that parents would have done that if he had his phone, without a doubt. But he didn't have his phone. Barney, Michelle was the coach, was on the island with Nolan that day. I've never heard of the coach being on the island with him. Not really sure on that one, Barney. Strawberry, has it been proven or verified that any of those kids or young adults were intoxicated? They were all intoxicated. I mean, you've seen the beers in their hand. You can look across the pictures. I'm sure you could find pictures of every one of them with beers in their hand. And yeah, they had, and some of them even said they had been drinking. So,
Of course. It's July 4th on an
yeah.
island in the middle of the ocean. You're boozing.
Duck says, DD88, Big Dogs, Mods, Chats, and Devil Pups. Hi, Duck, says Fin. Because if you have nothing to hide, never help law enforcement investigate, you let them do their job on their own. Fin, Straw, nothing has been proven, all hearsay. Strawberry, Fin, thank you. I was wondering about that. So the question now goes back to why did the mom and the sister feel that they had to say something that she did not see him on the boat, because she never said that. She has never claimed that, oh yeah, I never saw them. No, that's not what she said. And she never retracted what she said, which tells me she probably wasn't going to say she didn't see what she saw. And that's why there's a little rift there, possibly with the family, that she's not talking. That could be the reason. That could be a reason. I don't know if that is a reason, but that could be a reason. But if it was that, if she had told them and the mom and sister had said, well, Katie, you told us that you didn't see them on the boat, that you see them. Well, if she did tell them, that's a far cry from I saw him on that boat. It doesn't get any clearer than that. And I'm not saying that she's right. We're taking this perspective from the other side of the coin, because no one's ever talked about that side of the coin. So Katie leaves. When she leaves the island, she leaves with her brother and the sister. She leaves with her brother, Tony, and she leaves with his fiance. I think it's Eva or Evie, Eva, I believe. She leaves with his fiance, and they go back. And this was at about, I think, like 5:30, if I read it right. I could be off a little bit, but about 5:36. So then the question becomes, why did he go back? He had a ride. If he had stayed there for Katie, as the friend said he did, and they left at 4:31? So an hour later, she's going back with her brother and his fiance, and Nolan's is going to stay back. I'm not sure that even makes any sense. Just saying. Michelle, yes, their old high school coach was there. The kids said it was a tradition for many locals. Warren's mom was also there. All right, Michelle, I don't remember Warren's mom being at the island. Do you, Chris? Doug, is Katie McCormick under an NDA, advised by counsel, or stepping back from social media? Not really sure, Doug. I'm not really sure. I don't think she would be under an NDA. She could be literally stepping back from social media, possibly. I would, if I was in those shoes. But yeah, I'm not really sure on that. I haven't heard anything to suggest, that that's exactly what's happened. Good question, though. Good question. Tina, in boating, it is very common to give someone a ride to the dock due to drinking, losing a boat key in the water, etc. I feel he didn't need a phone to call for a ride in the middle of the ocean. Maybe in certain parts of the world or certain parts of the United States, he may have not needed that. In Mississippi, I'm not so sure he he didn't need that. Just saying. I'm just saying. Please don't take that out of context, but I'm just saying in Mississippi, maybe he didn't need his phone. Ben Fan, hearsay, LOL, Warren.
The only way I see a gag order of some sort is if they know something and they're trying to put something together and they don't want her to talk.
That's a good point. Absolutely. I could see that.
But I would think if they knew, I don't know. Who knows? You know,
I could see that. I could see that they're working on something, but here's the thing: if she has information that, and her attorney is saying, as many as suggested, is telling her not to say nothing, why would you, what would you be afraid of coming out if it had nothing to do with you?
I don't know.
It wasn't like Nolan when he was at the island. Not like that I'm aware of. It's not like Nolan was trying to hook up with a different person. He was with her the whole time. They said
right, and it's not like we're dealing with a bunch of criminals and
right.
bunch of, it's hoods. It's just it's a bunch of kids, and again, something happened. And look, I don't put out of this whole thing too is he could have drowned.
He very well could have.
It could have all been an accident. And these kids are like, we don't know. But again, was he by himself on the northwest end of the island?
That's what's strange.
You know what I mean? That's what brings you back.
Yeah. DD, one of the boys did slip that Warren's mom was there in an interview. One of the boys slipped that Warren's mom, I did hear Warren's. Yes, I did hear that. Warren. I think somebody was saying Nolan's mom was there, and I don't that I've never even heard of that.
On the island?
Yeah, I never heard of that. But Warren's mom, I did hear someone say she was there. Then I've also heard that she didn't go this year like she does every year because she was going to let the boys take out the boat this year. Because normally she takes the boat, she goes out there, but apparently she was going to let the boys take the boat because they had like so many kids that were going over there. That's what I heard. But as far as Nolan's mom, no, Nolan's mom wasn't there. Doug says litigation, civil suits. April, why did Warren's brother have Nolan's keys? Why was mom cleaning the boat at 3 a.m.? Why did the grandfather cancel the tow call? Those are my questions. Those are important questions. Unfortunately, why did Warren's brother have Nolan's keys? They're going to say he left them at the house more than likely. Why was mom cleaning the boat? She was, she had a cup of coffee late and she couldn't sleep. So she thought, why not just go ahead and clean the boat? Why did the grandfather cancel the tow? Well, because we definitely don't want anybody there right now if something nefarious was happening. We just don't know. And so, yeah, there's nothing really there that we can, figure out because everything seems to be unexplainable or hasn't been explained.
And let's not forget that not only was she cleaning the boat at, whatever time in the middle of the morning, night, whatever, it wasn't even at her house.
It wasn't even
at
her house.
He drove somewhere to clean it. So what the hell?
Yes. See, it's just none of this. And here's the thing. Has the mom come out and said, I did not, have you heard anywhere in the case that Warren's mom came out and said, I never went and cleaned that boat?
No.
We never heard that. Now, if somebody made an accusation that, hey, Dee Dee, you went and cleaned that house and then made the accusation, we saw you and I came back, you're out of your mind. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You think I'm going to be out there cleaning the boat? That ain't happening. I was asleep, right? Like normal people.
It wouldn't happen with you anyway.
Well, you never know that. You never know.
Well, come on and clean my house. Shit.
No, that's okay. So the idea is that is that, yeah, not one time did she say anything about refuting what that comment was made about her. She's never refuted. Now you say, well, her attorney probably told her not to say nothing.
She's a freaking lawyer.
My God, she's a judge.
She knows.
She doesn't know that. Like, hey, look, guys, I didn't go anywhere. I was in my house. End of story.
And so if
it.
that was the case, that's a big lie that's out there then.
Right. But she's never contradicted that. And that's what makes people wonder, why wouldn't she have?
Exactly. Why would you not?
Why would you allow people to say things that weren't true? If you just stay quiet, it's almost like you don't want to say either or because you want to leave it in limbo. Think fans, snitches, get stitches, no bullying, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people got stitches.
Yeah, because I'd be like, Dee did it. He did it, man. It was all him. He did it.
Michelle said, yes, she was. She said that she took her younger son there. She posted about it. Her biological mom. Okay, you're talking about Warren's biological mom? I'm confused a little bit.
Me too.
Break that down, Michelle, for me, please. Because yes, she was. She was there. So you're talking about
Warren's
mom.
Got to be Warren's mom.
But it's got. Nolan... But I thought Warren's mom. Yeah, she's the judge. I thought that's the one that said. I thought we heard and read that she said that she was going to, according to Warren, that she allowed them to take the boat. She normally goes there every year, but she was going to let them take the boat this time. And
what's his last name? Warren's
Hudson.
last name?
Hudson.
That's right.
She said that she took her younger son there. She posted about it in his biological mom. Oh, for the other son. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard that. Good point. Strawberry, I feel like the state of Mississippi is getting that bad rap and the blame.
I don't think they're getting the blame, but
yeah. They, as a whole state, have come a long way and made accountable changes, and the public is gaslighting it. I don't think the public's gaslighting anything, honestly. I mean, you're just trying to figure out what the heck has happened. And if you ask and you listen to certain people, you'll realize that that's exactly what we're doing here. Trying to look at the other side of the coin and say, why isn't this person saying X, Y, and Z? Why did people have to correct it? Because this is what this is all about. It's not even about the boys right now. It's about Katie. That's the first question that we top, and we're still on the damn first question since we started. Right? Why did her mom and sister had to go ahead and feel like they had to talk for her? Doesn't make no sense to me. Well, her attorney said not to say nothing. Why? Why would an attorney say that unless there was something that he didn't want to come out? Or, well, maybe the attorney didn't want her to compromise the case. Well, the case may never be a case if you don't say what you know. I mean, you made the boldest claim of all. You said he was on that boat. I mean, it can't get any more than that, and you never retracted that. And the boy said he was not on our boat. He was with you. And she said, oh, no, he wasn't with me. Can't have them both.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
So who was it that just said that she saw a post from Warren's mother that she was there?
I think that was
whoever it is. I mean, whoever
Michelle.
it is.
I think it's Michelle.
All right, Michelle. So Cole is the stepmother of Warren Hudson, who was part of the friend group with Wells, who traveled by boat to Horn Island on July 4th. Wells did not return to Ocean Springs with Hudson's and other friends. So that post that I see, that tells me in that post that she was part of that group that went to Horn Island. Now,
The judge?
yeah, for whatever it is what it is. But
Okay.
then here's my, why did she get rid of her social media all of a sudden?
Absolutely.
Maybe to get rid of that post that says, yeah, I took my little son there. So take away that post from her social media. What other proof is that she was on the island? None of the kids are saying it.
Right. Nobody's saying it.
So maybe she was there?
Possible.
And maybe this is why we ain't hearing anything?
Very possible. And maybe that's why, is it possible that that's why things got deleted from the phone of Nolan?
Possibly. Pictures of her on the boat or pictures of her on the island. But then, all right, so that's a new, theory of ours, mine, whatever, in case the FBI comes for me. But nobody else saw her. There's 2,000 people on the island. Nobody saw her. Or they're all like, that's the judge. Nope, didn't see her. Nope, not at all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that kind of, that theory kind of slips together now. And
what was her last name?
Her last name is what the hell was her last name?
Not Coy.
Cole.
Okay. So I could see people going, "Oh, hey, there's Judge Cole. She's out here."
Right. I mean, you're a judge in that area. Yeah, they know you.
Absolutely.
They know who you are. But nobody saw her.
But she posted that on her post. Interesting.
But which again, I never saw that, so I don't know. I can only take that from what somebody in the chat says. So, but I mean, shit. I mean, you take that, put it all together, think about it, and you know what? It comes out nice and clean.
Yeah. Michelle said she even said that she even said that she was there. She's saying that Cole even said she was there. I never heard it.
Me neither.
I'm not saying it's not, but I've never seen it. April DD Tina C. Tower used to work for a company that I was the general manager of. Many tow calls get canceled. Cito walks them through fixing issues, or a voter stops and helps them. Totally understandable. But the only thing I would say is to that, Tina, is the grandfather who owned the boat is the one who called to cancel the Cito.
Because it wasn't needed. Because because Bart helped them.
But up until that point, when that call came in from Wyatt, it was a call saying, "We're sinking," because you hear him saying, "We're sinking." Yeah. And she said, "Well, how far? Ankle high? I don't know. We're sinking." Okay. So somebody, I would think, had to have called Grandpa and said, "Grandpa, we're sinking. I don't know what to do. I just called the Cito." And instead of Grandpa saying, "No, just give him a call back. Tell him you don't need it. I'll tell you what to do." Okay, which he could have done. He called Cito and tells Cito, "Yeah, they got it. We got it. Everything's good." Did you have it? Because it was almost at the same time when they made the call, and then when the Cito calls the captain, he says, "Yeah, I just got off the phone with I think the grandfather." And then he says the name. Yeah, the name so and so. He said they didn't need it. They must have figured it out. The Cito lady is probably thinking, "What the hell was all that yelling back there?" Right? Remember, because she was asking, "Is everybody okay? Is everybody alive? Is everybody? That
still has me. How? Again, could it be fake? Of course, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem too fake for me. But
right.
again, we're right back to same shit. But I was trying to dig into Cole a little bit,
Right.
but I don't see anything like the way she's talking in some of these, like posts, from different media places that she may have talked to, and makes it sound like she didn't go, but
Right.
who knows? I mean, again, that could be anything. And her reason for taking down her Facebook was because of her children, the safety, and all kinds of crap coming through is what she says. Let me just see what it says. Oh Jesus, it's a whole interview here. So this is from the Daily Mail.
Mm-hmm.
Take it as you can take it. Alyssa Guzman, U.S. News reporter. A Mississippi judge whose son was on a boating trip with an 18-year-old who drowned claimed her child left his friend behind because their vessel was taking on water. I'm not going to keep reading, but police do not suspect.
Fin, that's not a rumor. Warren's biological mom said she was there. She posted about it after the boys' interview. AZ, excuse for cleaning the boat will be to get the salt off of it, which could be taken as legit, but 3 a.m.? That ain't happening. Fin, you can prove anything a fault without a confession in the case. I'm not taking anyone's side.
Can anybody provide that post from her? Because I can find nothing that says from anybody that says she was on that trip. I would love to have that post or anything. That would be huge.
It's a good point, April. Very good point. It was chaos on the call. They were sinking, and the grandfather says, "Oh, they okay now.
Yeah.
No need for tow." Tina, April, because a boater stopped and helped them. And Bart? You mean Bart?
Yeah, it
possibly?
was Bart. Yeah.
And
Bart's
why is
the one that towed them?
Strawberry, most people that own boats and spend good money will absolutely clean their boats after being in salt water. Everything needs to be cleaned, sprayed.
But it wasn't her boat.
Yeah.
We're thinking to this one too much, people. So look at it wasn't her boat, number one. And it's not her responsibility to clean somebody else's boat. And she left her house and drove to somebody else's house to clean their boat. Sorry. No way. No way.
I don't buy that either.
And if she did, love her to death because she'd come and clean my boat. You know what I'm saying? Like, but no, that's crazy.
April says, Tina, I never heard that, but if so, that explains it.
Hey, is anybody in the chat from Oklahoma? Anybody at all?
I don't think we got any Okies here.
Because there is a massive tank farm fire evacuation ordered in Glenpool, Oklahoma. I mean, it's the Explorer Pipeline Facility. They're evacuating areas like crazy over there, just in case if anybody's in that area.
Tina said, yes, a more experienced boater stopped and helped them. I don't remember hearing about anybody stopping.
No,
I don't remember hearing that. I remember it was.
It's Warren. It's Bart. Bart is the one that helped them. Bart was the one that jumped in the water, pulled the plug, and then Bart's boat is who towed Warren and them out to get the water out. So, just so
you know, Tina.
I'm trying to share this with you so you guys can see it real quick. Man, that whole thing melted. Wow.
Warren has two moms being talked about: stepmom, judge, but the biological mom was there.
That's the
Refinery, it looks like.
yeah. Wow. Two of them are going. That's bad. That's so bad because if like all these, oh, woo, man. So
And
yeah, if anybody
what
in
town is it?
Oklahoma,
What town is this?
Glenpool, Oklahoma.
Glenpool, Oklahoma. Well, I used
Yeah,
to
I
live in.
mean,
I don't know.
they ordered the evacuations of Glenpool. Like, see
Gotcha.
it, everybody go. I mean, like, if these things take off, I mean, it's crazy. It's
Wow.
weird. It's weird that it's two. Yeah, it's just weird that it's the farthest one away from this one that caught fire.
Right.
The two closest ones didn't. It's just weird to me. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that to
Yeah, in case
everybody's
anybody lives there,
attention.
absolutely. Or has
You don't
family
want,
there.
yeah, you don't want to smell that stuff. No way. So, but I'm gonna yank this down.
All right. April, Tina, who was the boater? April asked Tina, who was the boater that stopped? Michelle Smith, laughing out, Warren's biological mom.
Barney, that's in Glenpool, Oklahoma.
Tina, boaters always clean their boats as soon as they get out of the water. It's almost a must, but it wasn't her boat. That's what Chris was saying earlier.
Yeah, it's not her boat. That was Wyatt's boat. That's Wyatt's family's
Yeah,
boat.
that's
So
not
that
her.
would be like, I mean, in better word, for a better lack of word, no, that would be like me saying to you right now, or that would be like me leaving my house in the middle of the night to come to your house to clean your car.
Okay.
What the hell would I be doing that for?
Hey, hold on. Strawberry. Read this with me, Chris, please. Strawberry. Devil Dog, you just gaslighted it by repeating in Mississippi. In Mississippi. That's gaslighting. Sorry, but it is. I'm not sure what the heck.
What are you talking about? Gaslighting? What are you?
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're going with gaslighting. Did I miss something, anybody? Because I don't gaslight anything. I tell you what I see and what I think, but I don't gaslight nothing. So clarify that for me, please, Strawberry. Barney, girl, I am strangling my Wi-Fi router with its own cord. Who was the boat that helped them? That should be part of the investigation. That is true.
It is.
It will be a case, she told the police, and we don't know. Maybe she did retract it. It will be a case. She told the police, and maybe we don't know. Maybe she retract. Are you talking about why Katie McCormack didn't retract what she said about seeing him on the boat? That's the only thing I can think of where you're at, Tina. April, I'm sure it's a part of the investigation, but I'm quite sure the police have already spoken to him. Michelle, it was Bart that helped them, supposedly. Yes, that's what Chris just said.
Yeah, so look it was Bart's boat that came out to tow Wyatt's boat that Warren was on. Bart is the guy that jumped in the water to pull the plug on the boat. Now, Bart's boat has been searched, whatever they need to do. His boat's been done. He gave them his cell phone, the GPS stuff, everything that they needed from Bart's boat, they have. So, I mean, I don't know I know, but what about Mississippi, Strawberry? What is the gaslighting of Mississippi? Explain, please, so we can understand. Whoa, that thing's roaring! Holy crap!
Biological mom is not the judge. April, I appreciate the updates and info. Tina, Didi, it happens all the time. Cancel. I could say more, but I mean, no, I don't know. I don't know a lot about boating. I don't have a boat. I live here in Ohio. I don't have a boat. So I don't, yeah, that's fine that it gets canceled. I don't have a problem with it. It's just the idea that how would Grandpa know that the boat needed uh, help unless someone had called him?
Right. So I think a big part that's missing is what happened prior to the phone call to Cito. So, I mean, I'm not a captain of a boat, but I know a little bit enough. So what my theory is that whenever they got back on their boat out of the water from hanging out with their friends, and they noticed that there was a lot of water and the bilge pump wasn't coming on and it wasn't pumping out the water like it should. So they started to panic. So maybe Wyatt called Grandpa and said, "Hey, the boat's taking on water. Is there anything that I'm missing?" Maybe, to ask Grandpa's opinion. And Grandpa said, anyways, get a CTO going or something. And then let's try to, see if we can figure something out. Ask somebody there, do whatever. And I'm sure Grandpa said, get somebody to pull the boat, tow you out. And when you're under tow, go in the water, pull out the plug. And then as they start to tow you again, the water will drain out, because once you're in tow, the water's going to come out until you stop, and then the water will come back in. But right as they're stopping, you just throw the plug back in. Yeah, it may take a little bit, but you throw the plug back in and then just, put the pedal to the metal and head into town. Because as you're going along under your own speed, the water's not coming in unless you got this massive gash in your boat,
Right.
But they didn't. It's just normal water, but without that bilge working, it's just going to build up. So then I'm sure as he's talking to the CTO people, trying to give her the information that she's asking for, in the meantime, somebody probably called, it was supposedly now, Warren on the call, whatever. I'm sure Wyatt is on the phone with Grandpa saying, all right, we got the water out, the plug's in, we're on our way back. And Grandpa's like, all right. And he probably knows the captain from the CTO because it's local. And he just said, well, I'll call them and cancel and tell them that you're not needed, that they don't need a tow anymore. You guys just worry about getting back in. And that's why Warren hung up the phone on the lady, because that call wasn't completed. He just hung up because he was getting aggravated, they said. So, I mean, that's, it's really not, rocket science, like, really. I mean, that piece of the puzzle to me is perfectly fine. And the way he said it in context and using in Mississippi as a reference to things happening in Mississippi, the way he said it was gaslighting, as if the whole state is to blame. Yeah, sorry, I don't take it that way, but whatever. If you do, sorry, but yeah.
Angel Eye says, hi, everyone. Ole, why couldn't he answer the question of how deep the water was in the boat? He was asked, is it up to your ankles? No or yes or no. He should have been able to answer that. Good point, Oleg. Strawberry,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just giving my opinion on subject you brought up. I digress. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
It sounds
No worries, man. No worries.
No, I mean, we're not gaslighting anybody.
No,
the way
we're
he said something, whatever.
Yeah.
Really.
Duck, agriculture, fire. That was what. Yeah, that's what Chris was showing earlier with the fires on that. Looks like it's some type of oil refinery.
This freaking thing's roaring now. Like, it is. Whoa.
Hello, Angel Eyes. Welcome in. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna sneeze.
Okay, Sleepy Panda. Just in my opinion, good morning, Devil Dog. Good morning, Sleepy Panda. Good to have you. Thank you for being here. April, as a grandfather, I would still keep the tow. They were sinking, laughing out. So what? Another kid help? Nope, not make sense. Yeah, I mean, I think I would have kept the tow just because I want to make sure I get my boat back.
Remember what he said, though? It was going to be a while. Remember he said.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right. He did say it was going to be a while, so that could have been another reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, God, yeah, you're right. I remember that now. Sleepy Panda says, morning, Chris, chatted mods.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, in case I miss you now, tomorrow, or later.
Barney says, Chris, where is that? What place, what state is that?
That's the one. You're a little bit behind.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, but again, just if anybody's just jumping on, the tank explosions at a tank farm in Glenpool, Oklahoma. They have ordered evacuations of Glenpool, Oklahoma, because these things can burn for hours and days, maybe. I don't know.
Ironic to me, the boat sinks the same day Nolan becomes unalive. Just saying. Carol, no,
the boat didn't sink though.
Let's just remember. Sorry. Oh, I know, Strawberry. No worries, buddy. No worries. So that's literally the question that we've been on for God knows how long. And it's not, like I said, I'm not accusing anybody as far as Katie or even the young men, Nolan's friends, because I don't know. What I wanted to do in this conversation was bring the other side into the equation to see if that makes sense. After what Doug did to me yesterday and stumbled my ass by asking the question, what did Nanos do right? If you all remember.
He didn't do anything right.
I thought, you know what? Maybe I ought to go to the other side and find out what Katie, said or didn't say, and why did her mom and sister have to feel like they had to interject? So, yeah, I was just trying to reverse it a little bit and go the other route, because otherwise people would say, well, you're just focused on the young men. True. You're just focused on them. You're not focused on anything else. Well, no, I am. I'm actually focused on everybody to what everybody's role is. And there's only two groups that I can see that have some, I guess, skin in the game, and that's Katie, and that's his friends.
And maybe it's wrong on my part, but right now, like looking at things, Katie's the bottom of my list. Really, she is. She's on the last person.
Well, and you're right, Chris. I'm not, and I think personally, I don't think Katie did anything wrong. It's just that if we don't cover both ends, then everybody's, you got people that'll go, well, you didn't, could have been this, could have been that. So, it's kind of like when you cover both sides, then people can see where everything seems to be looking at, because you're covering the whole thing.
Yeah, I think one of my bigger things here is like if you take out Katie and take out his friends. Mm-hmm. There's 2,000 other people on that island.
Yeah.
And if he was, and let's stop calling it left behind. I don't really think they left him behind. If he was still on that island, I'm saying it was his choice to stay on that island. Right? He could have got on that boat, no problem. And that's what everybody was saying. He didn't want to get on the boat. He wanted to stay, which is fine. But we don't know what happened between 4:30 and 6.
Right.
So let's not forget that. 2,000 other people. Something could have happened. We don't know. And that's the problem. Are they interviewing 2,000 people? Probably not.
Probably not.
Even if they wanted to, probably not. You know what I'm saying? But I obviously the people you went with are going to be the ones that are out in front of everything, right? But what if they're telling the truth? And yes, I get it. On the interviews, Warren's first interview wasn't well didn't go well, in my eyes, some of the stuff he said. And then, this Tatum dude with, he was wrong with some things. But, what if they had nothing to do with it?
Right.
And
it
it
is
was
possible.
some other person on the island,
It's possible. Well, here's the thing. Now, Katie McCormick goes back. What was it? Time, if you remember yesterday, was it 5:30 or
5:30?
something
Well,
like
I don't
that?
know. 5:30. I don't even know. I can't. Don't let
So
me.
here's the thing. Katie goes back with her brother and his fiance.
Mm-hmm.
They go back. Where was Nolan?
Exactly.
Why didn't Nolan go back? Why didn't Nolan go back with them? I mean, I see all this time I thought Katie had got into another boat and went back. But now I'm finding out no, Katie went back with her brother and his fiance. So then the question becomes, okay, well, where's Nolan? I mean, that should be kind of like a red flag, not in a bad way, but just a red flag saying that question needs to be asked because, according to the young men, his friends, they said that she was with him. Well, they left at 4:31 supposedly, right? So if they left at 4:31, and let's say, uh, uh, let me see if I have it here. I might have it where it says exactly. Uh, let's see when Katie actually left. Let me ask that question just to see. You can ask that question. When did Katie McCormick leave the island with her brother and his fiance on the 4th of July in the Nolan Wells case? So, come on. So, it is saying that the boat left her on. So they're saying this is what it's saying to me when I just asked that question. The exact time McCormick left Horn Island, brother Tony and his fiance. What is valuable? Katie was on Horn Island. She was with her brother Tony and his fiance Eva Criddle. Reporting placed Nolan's friend's departure in the late afternoon, with later reporting saying that boat left at 4:30. Just looking, guys. Give me 1 sec. 1 sec. So it doesn't. So it doesn't say. It just says that I'm seeing. It just says that later accounts say Katie remained on the island for a period and was ultimately picked up and taken home by her brother Tony and his fiancee Eva. Her sister Gracie is the source for that detail. There's Gracie again coming into the picture. Gracie is her sister. Gracie is the one that her and the mom said that she did not see Nolan on the boat. That didn't come from Katie. So they're not giving really a time. So yeah, they're not giving an exact time. So the reason why that's important is because then you ask the question, why didn't Nolan go if he was there with Katie, for Katie, to be with her, as what was implied, and Katie left whenever she left? Why didn't he just go with her? Does that make any sense, everybody? Why didn't he just go with her if that's what apparently he was there to stay with? AZ, are there any facts that direct Bart and Katie in a relationship? Now, I did ask that question, if there was ever anything between Bart and Katie in a relationship status, past or present. It said it had no credible sources to be able to show that there was any relationship. I know we think that they might have been or there was, short of finding it somewhere else. I asked that question, and it said that there was no credible information to show that Bart and Katie were an item at some point in time. I'm finally back. Welcome back, Melly, you're fine, DD88. Gaslighting is when someone manipulates. It's not to be used when disagreeing with somebody. Thank you, Melly. Carolina, very true, Melly. So now the question becomes, you got to ask yourself, he didn't go back, supposedly, with Katie. And what I find interesting is I wonder why the brother didn't come out in support of his sister and say, yeah, I'm not sure what he could have really said other than, yeah, we left at such time. I'm sure the GPS is going to show when they leave. Maybe they need to find out when that boat left by looking at the GPS. I would think that would be important, would it not? Let's get the GPS information of the Tony, the brother of Katie, get his GPS and see exactly when they left. Because I haven't heard any GPS information from that boat. Then we would know exactly when she left. Then we would ask the question, why did Nolan go? If he stayed back for that reason to be with her, then why in the heck would he not have left with her? That makes no sense to me. Do we know how long Katie lived in the area? I am not sure on that, to be honest. I'm really not sure, Barney. A to Z, thank you for the answer, DD. I was finding wishy-wash back and forth. I'm looking fact-based only, so thank you. You're very welcome, A to Z. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm not sure, but that's the question that needs to be answered. Why did it? And I hate to go down this rabbit hole, but then you get into the discussion. Was there something that happened prior to her leaving with her brother and his fiance? Was there something prior that had occurred? I'm not throwing anything out there. I'm just saying, is there something could have happened? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all to me. Because once again, this is her brother. There is the link, Chris. Please hit the like and subscribe, everybody. Help the channel grow. Think about that. What is it? Because if we knew why Nolan didn't go back with Katie, that would answer, was he even with her that whole time? You know what I mean? It would answer so many questions. So many questions it would answer. If we were able to know why Nolan left or didn't leave with Katie, it would answer so many questions as to, was he even with her, right? And yet we don't know why they're not saying that he was with her, or that why didn't he leave with her? Was something happened to him prior to that when they left? Did they not see him because he was somewhere else, for a better lack of words, floating around in the water? I don't know. But it some
do
questions.
you know for sure? Sorry to cut you off.
But
Do we know for sure? Do we have proof that he was with Katie?
no, not really. No.
We don't. We have nothing. All we have is, what's a good word for it? All we have is, does hearsay work? No? Does that work? Yeah, no.
Which one?
Nah, I don't like the way it sounded anyways. But yeah, I mean, all we have is people saying, yeah, that's what he was doing. But we have no proof of that.
We have no proof of that.
I don't even think Katie said, oh yeah, I was with him.
No, she didn't. She never once said,
I was with him.
I was with him. She said, in fact, I saw him on the boat. And then it was the mom and the sister, Gracie, that came out and said Katie had told them, and she put it on, I think, her Facebook, that Katie had told her mom and her sister that she thought he got on, well, that he was walking towards the boat and she thought he was going to get on the boat. That's a lot of shit in between that and he's on the boat, right?
That's all we have, though, is her saying, yeah, he was walking towards the boat. Okay.
But Katie never said that. That's the problem that I'm having.
I thought she did. She didn't?
Chris.
That's me. Is that my pancake?
Chris said, is that his pancake?
No? Milk? Anything?
There was no. So the idea that literally that was said, we don't know literally, because she never retracted that.
Right.
And why wouldn't she have, if she said that, why wouldn't they have just said, yeah, why wouldn't Katie have just come out and said, yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see him on the boat. I don't know. I just misspoke.
Right.
Why did she just put that on the Facebook? Why instead did the sister and the mom interject themselves in the situation? Because that makes me wonder, going back to when the boat left with Katie on it and the brother and the fiance, that makes me ask the question, okay, now that boat now becomes in play, because it's like, well, why didn't he go with him? Or did he? You follow me?
Yeah.
Did something happen on that? I mean, I don't know, but if you're going to be, if we want to be fair and look at everything, you have to look at literally all the possibilities. So I'm just saying, it just doesn't make sense to me that what we're hearing, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm at the point now where I'm saying, Katie never retracted her comment about seeing them on the boat. We never seen Katie with him. Just never did. That he didn't go on the boat with his friends and he ended up staying with her. We never seen that. Now we do have, there is two, I'm going to just say young boys, that the attorneys for those boys have come out and said they saw him at 6 o'clock or 6:30 p.m. that they saw Nolan on the island. They didn't even say we saw Nolan with the girl. They just said we saw Nolan. And then of course they're asked, well, were you together? Was they together? And the attorney said yes. And he said, did they know the friends of the friends, the boaters, the friends? Mm-hmm. And the attorney said, yeah, did the two kids know them? And the attorney said yes. And then she said, were they in different places or were they walking together? They were walking together. Okay. Yep. So there's not a distinction of two eyewitnesses from two different spots. You got two people, and he said they're younger. They're younger than them. So I don't know what younger means. Does it mean like they were only 14, 15, 16, years old? And I mean, think about what it would say if you were able to talk to some friends and say, man, I need you to say X, Y. I'm not saying this happened, but to say, I need you to say this.
Right.
Oh, yeah, buddy, I'll do that all day for you. I want to be just like you guys, Think of what a young, immature kids would do and say, you know. I'm not saying it happened, but what I am saying it is that possibility. And the reason I bring it up is because there is nothing explaining why he wasn't on the boat with Katie and her brother.
Mm-hmm.
Now I did ask if I did ask and search to see if the brother had any correlation with Bart, and they said there was nothing there. Like there was no friendship type of deal or anything like that. So
Right.
I couldn't find anything like that. So it's just once again comes back to, how he didn't make it off the island if he wasn't on the boat and he stayed back on the island. He didn't make it off the island, but yet he had the most perfect person to take him off, which was Katie and her brother and the fiance. Does that make any sense to anybody?
No.
It don't make sense to me.
Nope.
Nothing. I mean, that really doesn't make sense because that was his ride. That was his ticket.
Right.
So I don't know. I just think that if you don't look at everything on both ends, both sides, then you miss something. And right now, I'm starting to see that there is questions that need to be asked on the other side as well. But if Katie comes out, now she hasn't, but if she came out and said, Nolan wasn't with me when my brother picked me up, Nolan wasn't with me. I went with my brother after hanging out with some friends. Katie's not going to stay there by herself, right? So if Warren never came back, or if Nolan never came back to Katie, as they said she did, or as they said he did, and Katie's just not going to sit there walking by herself. She's going to be with her friends, right? And only common sense. She's going to be with her friends. At some point, her friends could have come out and said, we never seen Nolan with Katie. You
Correct.
follow me?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple. You talk to her friends and you find out, was Nolan with her after this time when the friends had left, his friends had left. And it's that simple because she's going to be around people. So the friends could say yay or nay. That puts everything to bed right there. It puts everything to rest. But no one said that. No one that we know of said that.
Nope.
So now what you have is you have supposedly Katie, who's going to still be on the island because she was probably there for an hour or so, maybe more, around. She was with her friends until her brother said, hey, we got to go. And he came and picked her up in the boat with his fiance. Where's Nolan? Somebody could have corroborated that information, especially the friends of Katie. They would have said, yeah, he wasn't with her. We were hanging out with her the whole time. The only time he was with her was at the beginning, but when his friends left, he wasn't here. She wasn't with him anymore. So that makes sense that now you got to bring that boat into the equation, because you have to bring it in the equation because it is a factor. Because it would only make sense that was his ride home. And he didn't take it for whatever reason. Did he take it because he didn't want to be with her? Or did he not take it because what? He couldn't? He was incapacitated? I don't know. But you have enough witnesses that can literally go ahead and answer those questions. And that's what's not being answered, is those questions. makes all the difference in the world. April, yeah, I'm feeling the same way. I have several times. I speculate, but it could be too many things. Oleg, same. It is doing my head in. April, I kind of left it when the racism came into it, so probably behind. Oleg, we need a list of what is true facts to stick by. Oleg, agreed. Barney, we need to track what all those sources are in order. Well said, everybody. I totally understand it. For the case is kind of frustrating because we want justice, but we don't have much like the Nancy case, except Nancy's case in many ways, in my opinion. And so many potential players, so many who probably know something and saying nothing. Yes, well said. April, if the call was real, Nolan was on the boat. I mean, yeah. I mean,
that makes 100% sense. If I mean, again, like I said the other day, all of a sudden there's just all this noise on the back of the boat about Nolan being, dead. Is he breathing? Blah 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 blah. All that stuff. Did that just pop up out of nowhere?
Yeah, I kind of find it hard to take it just like somebody just added all those voices and words.
No way.
Individuals. I don't buy that.
No way.
You're talking about too much editing.
Yeah, I still think he was on that boat and something happened.
I agree. I mean, that's what I think. And
it might not be like, it might not be, hey, let's unalive him.
Right.
But, something happened and they got nervous.
I agree.
And, again, what happened, from there on, who knows?
No, that's a well put. I mean, that's exactly right. Because at this point, I'm not seeing any supporting evidence to show that he wasn't on that boat.
No.
I'm just not seeing any supporting that he wasn't on it. I'm seeing more evidence showing that he was on the boat because of not only the CTO call, the audio, but also because the main person who they said was with him and why he was staying back said, no, he was on that boat. He wasn't with me. And what's frustrating is when I look at that, I can say, well, Katie, your friends, you were with your friends, right? Well, yeah. Okay, then why can't your friends say if he was with you or not?
Yeah, we haven't heard from one of them.
None of them. It makes me wonder really what is the whole secret here. Almost like you got multiple people keeping these secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like I don't want to say something, and this is just my opinion. I don't want to say something being these people involved. I don't want to say something because I like Nolan, but I also like the other people because I know their families and I know I know who they are, and they're friends of mine. And I don't want to say anything bad about them. I don't want to see them go to jail and get in trouble.
Right.
And in the same token, I really like Nolan, so I'm kind of caught in between. So all I'm going to say is, I saw him on the boat. That's it. And if you guys want to change it, mom, sister, little baby, brother, whatever in the hell, go ahead. I'm not doing it. And then where is brother in this picture saying, yeah, no, when we picked her up, he wasn't with her. She never said he needed a ride. You follow me?
Yep.
Katie, if he was with her, Katie would have said, hey, can we bring hey Tony, can we bring Nolan with us and drop him off? Obviously that didn't happen. Or did it happen? And did he get dropped off? Or did he really get dropped off? I don't know. I really don't know, but I will tell you this. To me, it would be a lot simpler to corroborate whether he was with Katie because of Katie's friends, because you're not getting really, in my opinion, you're not getting any substance on the other side. you're getting a lot of confusion and a lot of things that just are not adding up. So now go to the Katie side and start asking those questions with her friends. Hey, was Warren or Nolan with Katie, Jill, Nancy, Susie, whatever? Was he with them? Well, no. Once he was with her earlier, but then she came over and we started hanging out and talking and just socializing. And I never seen him once with her after that. Oh, now you got a problem. He wasn't with her. And if they say yes, oh yeah, he was with her. Okay, now you got a problem. He was with her. So that means those boys, for the better lack of words at that point, are pretty much out of the equation. Now you got to figure out why he didn't go on that boat with the brother and the brother and the fiance. Did something happen in there? Did something happen in between there? It's really not hard if everybody is communicating with one another and is talking, or if the cops are talking to the people that she was with before and after Nolan, before she was with Nolan and then after she was with Nolan, when he supposedly left on the boat. If they would just talk to those girlfriends of Katie, they could find out if he's with her. How hard is that? You think they're going to say, oh, I'm not saying nothing? No, they're going to just tell you straight up. Yeah, he was here, or no, he wasn't. You follow me? It's that simple, everybody. It is really that simple. Then once you get that and you solidify that statement and they write you out that statement, now you go to the next spot. Okay, so he wasn't here. So then something happened before he was here. And now you can drift off and start asking the questions. Who else was there at the island? Well, we know, not saying anything with this individual, but we know Bart came back at 5:30?
Somewhere.
Did something happen? I don't know. We don't know.
They have his GPS, so
they know. Yeah, they know. They know. And they would know more if they would just ask the right questions. April, I agree. That was suspicious. April, AZ, exactly. April, I'm not beyond thinking the call was canceled to dump his body. Good point. Michelle, the story from last night fits. Michelle, from that, it was an accident. He wanted his phone and the altercation turned bad and he was accidentally unalive. That's very possible. It's very possible. Nothing has to necessarily say it was done nefariously. This could have just been something of an accident that went too far, but the cover-up is so much greater. AZ, April, that's kind of where I'm at, in my opinion, because drowning, I don't believe he would have resurfaced that fast. And how long decomposition gases take to achieve that buoyancy to come to top. Barney, I can understand that people get scared, but the only thing that could stop me from speaking the truth is someone threatening my family. That's where I come back, because that to me is a damn good point. I would move my family and then speak up. April, but Michelle Warren said it was him on the video asking for his phone. It was him asking for his phone, and yet you got Tristan Shepard saying it wasn't him, it was Tristan Shepard who was the one that was asking for the phone and eventually got into that fight with that kid. Now here's another thing on that. Tristan Shepard didn't leave at, how we thought that he left like 45 minutes after he got there? You remember that, Chris?
I'm sorry. I was reading something.
Christian Shepherd left 45 minutes after he got there because the guy in that fight.
Yeah, he got into the fight,
Okay.
and his uncle grabbed him and said, "Hey, let's go. Let's get out of here."
He didn't leave till 3:30. He never left at 45 minutes after he got there. He left at 3:30.
And we know. How do we know? How do we know?
Because I looked it up.
Okay.
I looked it up, and it talks about Tristan Shepherd. Let me just ask it again. When did Tristan Shepherd leave the island, the Horns Island, during the July 4th in the Nolan Wells case? See, and this one's telling me, yeah, specifically, Tristan Shepherd departed time from Horns Island. He left. This is saying the group boat left Horn Island approximately 4:30 p.m. Okay, that was a boat that had problems. Hang on a second. However, I haven't found police. It's just in left 4:30. Some later reporting commentary raises questions about whether 4:30 p.m. departure. I just found that earlier. Why am I not seeing it? Tristan Shepherd departure time of Horn Island on July 4th, 2026. It does not give. Okay, let me look over here. Look over here.
Now I found a news article from WLOX with an interview and statement from Ashley Cole and her husband that explicitly says that they were not on the island on July 4th. They chose to stay back.
Okay.
So, again, who knows? But they did come out and say that on the news. So, who knows?
Horn Island. It just says he left in the late afternoon. Tristan Shepherd left Mississippi Horn Island in late afternoon on 4/26 aboard the boat Triton. That's what it says. That's all it says. Let's see what this one says.
Oh.
Yeah, he said he was the one that was yelling. He was the one yelling for the phone, not Nolan. He talked to ABC on July 13th with ABC and was saying that the person yelling was him.
Now, all I can find is Tristan Shepherd was one of the friends who accompanied Nolan Wells to Horn Island during a large 4th of July gathering. He described himself as Nolan's best friend and said they spent much of the day together, even though he did not initially ride out with Wells on the boat to the island. According to Shepherd, he later left Horn Island with his uncle after getting involved in an altercation with unrelated people. He left the island hours before Wells disappeared. In his later interview, Shepherd expressed remorse for leaving, saying he might have been able to persuade Wells to return to the mainland instead of staying behind. That's all I get.
Got you. No, that's more than what I'm getting. Please don't forget to like and share the stream out, everybody. Michelle says, look up what Javon said about them lying on him regarding his phone. Javon. Can you check that out for me? Michelle said, look up what Javon, Javon, said about them lying on him regarding his phone.
What's his last name?
Javon.
I forget. Is it Williams? Not Williams, is it?
No, Javon. No.
I forget.
Hang on a second. Who is Javon's last name in the Nolan Wells case? Yep, you're right. Javon Williams.
Oh, okay, it is. Okay. It's funny. Warren is his best friend.
Right.
Javon says right here, that's my best friend.
Right. I read it right here. Yeah.
And then Jason, whatever, he's the best friend. They're all the best friends.
I don't think none of these kids know what a best friend really means, brother.
And what am I looking for again? I'm sorry.
Michelle had said, look up what Javon, Javon, said about them lying on him regarding his phone.
Okay.
April says Nolan was unalive on the boat, and that's my opinion. Grandfather panicked, told them to dump it and get back to shore. Accident or not, I don't know. It's a good theory, April. Michelle, his biological mom, not Ashley. Grandfather canceling help amidst everything going on is what has stuck in my mind too. What factors does solar heat contribute to disorientation, and add that on top of a lack of eating? April, yeah, Doug, I'm not convinced it was not an accident, but why the cover up? Well said. Well said.
All right, so let me read, because I mean all I can find is about this here, but let's just see what it says. Details about Nolan Wells' final whereabouts are continuing to unfold. Now it's his best friend, Javon Williams' mother is speaking out, recalling the night she tried to get Nolan's phone back while sharing additional information about how she found it. Nolan's best friend and his mother, Tashima, recently spoke with CNN alongside Nolan's mother, Christine Wansley, and attorney Ben Crump, who joined the conversation virtually. Tashima opened up about the moment she retrieved Nolan's phone. She explained that Christine began looking for answers after Nolan stopped responding and hadn't been heard from since he left Horn Island on the 4th of July. Tashima said she reached out to her sons Javon and Jalen, but neither of them had heard from Nolan. She then started checking Nolan's phone location, which showed one area while his Snapchat showed another, which I remember that. Tashima said the phone's location led her to a home where a group of people appeared to be hanging out. When she arrived at the home, Tashima said the lights were off and the teens inside took about 15 minutes to return Nolan's phone. It took about 15 minutes to get the phone, Tashima said. She recalled someone telling her the phone was in a friend's truck, but that friend said a girl would bring it out instead. Tashima said the delay made her question why it took them so long to return Wells' phone. During the CNN interview, Jalen Williams also shared that Nolan would have never stayed behind on Horn Island despite the rumors surrounding his final moments. He added that Nolan was the type of person who always came back with the same people he left with. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it there. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, again, why didn't the kids say, to Nolan's mother, "Hey, I have his phone. You want it? Here, I'll bring it to you." Why did they hang on to it? Were they wiping it clean? You know what I'm saying? So it all
Yeah.
fits together.
It really does.
Everything fits together. Here we go. Nancy Guthrie, everything fits together. Nolan Wells, everything fits together. Elena Moore, everything fits together. The only one that just doesn't fit for me is Carlsbad. That's the only one.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only one. Again, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Hit it first. Ray J was junk. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to. And then the family just turned the phone over to the authorities. So what I'm saying is they went to whoever, Apple, whatever phone he had, Apple, whatever, and did a complete, I need everything that you can find on the phone, which they can because you can't wipe it until they wipe it.
Right.
You can delete everything off. You can reset it to factory, but that's only clearing the pictures off. It doesn't wipe anything out from, the internals that they can get everything from. So,
Right.
Again, who knows? The boys now admit that Javon left his phone. The boys now admit that Javon left his phone on the boat too. See, again, there you go. Did Nolan leave his phone on the boat? Javon says he did with his. Javon left his phone on the boat too. So, I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, man, going into this topic, really, I mean, one question is all we got to in 3 hours.
Yep.
One question, And that question was why Katie McCormick isn't talking. And we went to because she knows the truth, one said, because she told not to by attorneys, because do not was told do not talk, or she doesn't need to prove that she is not involved. No, but she would think that she would be able to at least say, where or what could have happened to this young man who lost his life. She could be able to put those pieces in context. And she's not doing it. She's not doing it at all. Um, so I'm not sure what to think.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have to prove anything.
Yeah, and no one's asking her to prove
No.
anything when it comes to her.
All she had to say was, hey, I left him at, 3:10, 3:15, and he was walking towards the boat or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And if she said, excuse me, if she said, I saw him on the boat, then that dude was on the boat.
Yeah.
She is only known him for a few hours, supposedly still. I still just read a report that said, they only knew each other from the island.
Yeah.
Which, is that true? Because to everybody else, they were texting her, we texted her and stuff, but you wouldn't be if you didn't know her.
Right.
So again, that's still a little sus, and don't start that, boy. Let's see, here you go. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Doug. Thank you very much, sir. So again, there's a lot there's a tiny bit we know, but there's a whole lot that we don't know. And, again, it could be, it could be an accident. It could be unaliving. It could be, whatever. I mean, accident covers a lot of things. So, but again, we're right back to like what you said. Why isn't? But I don't. They interviewed her. Look I left him at 3:10. I saw him going towards the boat. I saw him on the boat, whichever. Sorry, I just met the kid for that day for a few hours. So, what does she really have to say? You know what I mean? If that's the case, then there's nothing more for her to discuss, right? You know what I mean? So that would be probably the main reason for me why she's not speaking, because there's nothing for her to speak on. And along with her sister, and her family said in a statement I was looking at a few minutes ago, hey, this is, I'm telling you what I know. And, God, we hope that, something's found so it can bring, peace to the family, the mother and the dad looking to figure out what happened. I don't know. I just read that as they're done. You know what I mean? They're clear and just, again.
Michelle says, no, Kate knew him.
There's still no proof of that. And I get it because, Warren said that, he started texting her and then everybody started texting her. Well, if you didn't know her, then, you wouldn't be texting her because Nolan's the one who met her. But yeah, it's, again, that's another good thing that, another issue that they did know her or they didn't know her. And, it's back and forth again, just one other thing. So, we're right back to square one.
But they could, that's the thing that bothers me. Welcome in, Eastern girl. Welcome in. that's the thing that bothers me is that I don't, and I probably will never know, but how simple would it be to talk to her friends that were with her in the water or wherever she was at
Mm-hmm.
once Nolan left, supposedly? What? How hard is it to talk to the friends and ask them, who did you see Nolan with her?
Well, I'm
Did,
sure.
did you see Nolan with her? Once he went on the boat and your
Right.
friend came, over to you guys. Did you guys see Nolan with her? Nope, nope, nope.
Well, we
Or
know
yes,
they
yes,
talked to
yes.
her sister and her. What is it?
Mom,
The
mom.
sister's husband.
Oh yeah, yeah. The brother and the brother's fiance.
Yeah. So they spoke to them, and I mean, I'm sure they spoke to a lot of people, right? I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, again, they can pretty much find out whoever they really want because all they have to do is go into the GPS tracking system that the
Mm-hmm.
the Coast Guard use to track every boat that's on the ocean and be like, hey, who's that GPS right there attached to? They could get all their information for every single boat that was at Horn Island. But I'm sure they talked to her friends. I mean, you would think they would have to, right? I
Right.
mean, they talk to the family, so I mean, I don't know. It's the only thing that sticks out for me. If it wasn't for this one thing, to me, the case would probably be closed. It's for me, for us, it's the freaking Cito call with them
Yep.
in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Is he dead? Is he breathing? Oh my God. No, Nolan. No, like, come
Yeah.
on. Where did that come from? It wasn't like it just, hey. And I mean, really, do you really see somebody doing AI voices and cutting Warren's voice and Bart's voice and Tristan and who were the girls in the background? Because as far as I remember, there was no girls on the boat.
Right.
So where did their voices come from? You know what I mean? It's like, so those are the things. But again, we don't know that Cito call could those videos have been spliced together? Yes. Because there was no girls on their boat. It was all guys. So that's a good question too, is where'd the voices of the girls come from? Now, was that the voices prior to the phone call and they were spliced together? But who's splicing it together? You're now making yourselves look guilty, right?
Right. Right.
So, or like I think we said this the last time we talked, or was Nolan on Bart's boat? And that's why you hear the voices, but not so well.
Right.
One, because you're in the middle of the ocean. And two, you're on the boat that's right next to you, towing you, but you could still overhear the voices, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the horrible thing is going to be finding out what the sheriff has as evidence and what did he gather.
Right. I
You
mean,
know.
I would love to know if they found anything on the boat. It doesn't have to be blood to
Mm-hmm.
find out. But I mean, what makes it even more difficult is they're all friends and they've been on the boat a bunch of times. Yeah, there's going to be DNA on there if everybody, if it wasn't cleaned 100%, but there'll be DNA from all of them on there, especially from that day, just driving out, you know.
Right.
And as you can see that picture of them on the way out, Oh, I mean, they're in shorts. I mean, I don't think anybody had a T-shirt on, so you got DNA flying all over the place.
Yeah.
So, it's again, this could have just been a horrible accident, and they just freaked out. And you know, I feel bad if that's the
And I could
case, and
see
they
that
just
being a
panic.
horrible accident, and they
Yeah,
just didn't handle it right.
yeah. I mean, shit. Maybe he slipped on the boat and hit his head on the back, the backside of his head on the side, on the boat as he was getting in, or he hit it on something, and it just unalived him. I mean, possibly getting a good whack in the back of the skull. You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know, but it's definitely weird. And it's not like nobody's talking. They all are talking. I think what? Did they all do the interview with Tatum, or just three of them? Or two of
I
them?
think no. Well, I think at the end, all four of them did.
Yeah, so they're not hiding anything. They're not hiding. Like they're not saying anything. A
Right.
lot of the times you get that where, oh well, this person didn't say a damn thing. They're all talking, they're all doing whatever they think they need to do. They all went, well, not all, but they went back to the island to see what they could find out. And I mean, what the hell they are going to find out? But I don't know. Who knows? I mean, this is another one. Like, let's say, in a month, they can't put anything together, and this is ruled a drowning or an accident. It's over. You know what I mean? It's over.
Right.
Like, I guess if they say, we did not find any foul play, and it's been determined that this is a horrible accident, that he was lost his life to drowning, and that's put on the books, and then on the death certificate it says, accidental drowning, blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's say a year and a half, 2 years later, they find evidence that he was unalived by one of the friends. Can they bring that back up, even though the death was considered an accident? Can they change that? You should be able to,
If
right?
they got evidence stating that fact that he was unalive and they found it later, I'm sure they could bring it
And
back.
then the evidence they found the implement, what the hell,
Implica-
like implicated,
implicates.
one of the friends, and it's, and I'm not using anybody's name. I'm just
Mhm.
saying it's the CC guy, and he's, brought to court and found guilty of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
do they change the cause of death and all that stuff? They
Well,
should be
they
able to
have to,
do that,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, again, I don't know what stipulation, like, how long do you have? Forever? I don't think, I mean, because I'm seeing them find some of these people that are in jail that are in there for 15, 20 years, let's say, and then they link this dude to another case, and now they're trying to try him for that case, and they're looking to add on like another 50 years and stuff. But I remember something
Right.
came up, but there was they were, we're talking 25, 30 years ago, and they were still able to charge him. You know what I mean? So, like, I
Right.
don't know if there is a what's that, like,
Statute of limitation.
yeah, like the limitations. I mean, that should be done away with. I don't think there should be anything like that. The statue. There
Well, I think
shouldn't.
when it deals with kids, there's no
There better not be.
there's no
They-
statute of
you know.
limitations.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it shouldn't apply to kids,
well, I don't think
or
of anything of like
yeah,
sexual assaults. It doesn't
that's what I
apply to
mean.
that.
And and it shouldn't apply to elderly. I mean, I need you
Right.
around. You know what I mean? So, you know, um, but yeah, no, it's disgusting how we sit here and and I know I keep saying it, I'm going to say it forever. Everything that we have in front of our eyes right now, there is no answer for.
Right.
Now, I mean, and you've done it, but everybody in the chat, put yourself in the place of these, these detectives and these law enforcement in general that have to deal with this every single day. Well, I mean, we basically do the same, but no, imagine what they go through every day. You know what I mean? And they're not working on 4 or 5 cases. They probably got, a few hundred sitting around, and you got to give fair time to each individual case.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why it takes so long when you sit and think about it. I mean, it just blows my mind. It's like, even think about Nancy Guthrie and I leave Pima County out of this because I could care less.
Right.
But think of the FBI agents that are the ones that are assigned to investigate Nancy Guthrie. They're doing the same shit we're doing.
Right.
They have all the technology in the world. That's great. But they're still sitting back doing the same damn thing we are. What the hell? They're looking at every video. They're looking at every letter and all that stuff. And then they're doing the same damn thing. They're probably banging their heads off the wall too. So, I don't know. It drives me crazy, but what are you going to do? But hey, listen, it is 1:02. I have, I got things to do here. I don't have time to play around with all you guys all day long. I mean, this is, and then, 5 o'clock comes around before you know it. And I got to think, oh God, another couple hours with Dee Dee. What the hell?
No, not today.
What do you mean?
I got to go to a funeral.
Oh, got you. No 5 o'clock show.
No 5 o'clock show.
We'll make it up tomorrow. We'll have a 9, a noon, a 5, and a 8.
Hell.
What?
But no, I like I said, I like going the other route too, because I think you could get a lot of answers answered from the other side as well, and those answers could be. It could literally point you in one way or the other. It could answer questions that we can't get from just one side. It could be answers that we needed from this side. And when I say this side, I mean like from Katie's side rather than from the friends' side, because they could answer things that we never thought possible. And I think that's where I'm leaning. And if I had to lean on where things are going, well, it just seems like that pendulum is constantly pointing. There's just so much. There's just so many unknowns, in all honesty, with those friends than there is with Katie on that end. And so then you got to just go where the evidence takes you. But yeah, it's difficult. But it was a good conversation, I can tell you that.
Yeah, well,
a lot of great ideas and comments.
Like I also think if those kids didn't do those interviews with Tatum, what would we be talking about then?
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because some bull crap came out with that, and I'm sure a lot of truth came out with that. But if they decided not to do that, where would we be? I mean, would we be even having this conversation right now?
Yeah,
probably not, because we wouldn't have had anything to go by. Warren does say things he probably shouldn't have said. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, if I was like the lawyers and I'm sitting back saying right now, boy, that was not a good idea. Maybe we shouldn't have let them do that. Maybe we should have said no to that. You know what I mean? Or at least have it be like, not that it helps, but, have it be, News Nation or CNN or Fox or, somebody, you know what I mean? Where with this Tatum guy, it's YouTube. So with this Tatum guy, I don't think the lawyers were too much like, well, whatever, just go do it. When you're CNN and all these big times, they're coaching. Don't say this. Don't say that. Don't use that word. Don't, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
I
What
think you're
time
right.
tomorrow? We're gonna go live tomorrow. Well, it's actually gonna be this morning. We're going at 4 a.m. till about 1 p.m. He has to make up for missing tonight. You know what I mean? So, and then but no. Are you doing 9 tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah, I got to check with the boss. You know what I mean?
Stop it.
So yeah, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And if maybe, just maybe, I'll go live later on today and take the place of Devil. I could never replace him. You know what I mean? Because I don't use all those sophisticated words that he does. I'm not me. But maybe I will go live later. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Have my own show for once in a while. I don't have to, I don't have to carry the weight. You know what I mean? I just run. So, but hey, everybody in the chat, love you guys. Thank you guys. See you guys maybe later. And if not tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. No 5 p.m. show today.
There you go, guys. That's
and
it.
Double D.
Simplify, my brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for
Peace,
coming
love,
on.
and happiness.
Always.
And all prayers with you and your family.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Do your thing. Don't yell at me anymore. Leave me alone. So
you got it.
Yeah. I may go live, Carol. I don't know yet, though. Don't beg, though. So anyways, guys, I will talk with you all later. Dee, later on, my man.
Later on, my brother. God bless.
See ya.
All
God
right.
bless.
Simplify.
All
right, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. And hey, it was a good conversation. Very good conversation. Got a lot of things out there. We're able to literally look at from a lot of different perspectives. And it's what it's all about. You try to figure out why and how come, and you sometimes got to look at even the other side. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of nefarious things, because maybe they could answer a lot of questions on that side that would make sense on what we have been covering. But I really enjoyed it. I think you guys had great questions, and I can see us doing this more, going from this tactic rather than just assuming you think you know who could have done this, go into the tactic of, well, what about this over here, and then explain that. You know what I mean? So it's very possible. But everybody, thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. And literally know that you guys make this channel as great as it is. So I do appreciate that. Michelle, thank you for always supporting the channel, my friend. I appreciate you, all the mods and everyone. We won't have a live this evening because I'm going to the funeral. And but we will be back at 9:00 a.m. tomorrow. So I hope to see you all there. Thank you. God bless. Remember to spread out the word. Share it to your other streams when you're on your lives. Let's get that word out for not only Devil Dog _88, but for Let's Talk with Chris and as well as Analyze Doug. So with that, everybody, God bless. It's all common sense, everybody. It is all common sense. Thank you. Appreciate all of you. Love you all. Bye.